Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Looking for My Fit. My name is Jamaica, in case you've never met me before. And today, y'all, I have my first celebrity interview.
Yes, celebrity.
Let's go. I have my first celebrity interview. Listen, don't y'all laugh. I have an envelope, but I write everything on my envelope. But I want it to be legit. I'm like, listen, I got a celebrity coming on the show. I am not going to play around. I'm going to write everything down. I don't want to miss anything. So let me tell you something. She's an entertainment correspondent. She's a writer. She has a website. She has a top-rated show. She's an afternoon personality. This is my girl, Victoria, better known as Vicky Roe Radio.
I need to take you everywhere I go because that was just amazing.
You like that? Listen,
Yeah,
I gotta hook it up. So what's up, girl? How you feeling?
Girl, feeling good. I'm just glad to be home and relax for a bit. Work, you know what, since the new year, even though things are still kind of like, quarantine style, we're still in a pandemic, it got busy at the top of the new year because I went away for vacation to kind of reset. It was the holidays and came back and I've kind of been, it's been a little busy. So I'm glad to be home and relaxed and here with you.
I know. So thank you for agreeing to be on here.
What? Of course.
I sent the text like, hey, girl, hey. I'm doing some things on the podcast. Will you be on here? And then you responded like, girl, what you need?
Hello? Without a doubt. You already know. And whatever you need, I am here for it.
Yeah, so in case you all have not heard of her, if you haven't, I need you to remember the face, remember the voice, because her star is growing. So I need y'all to go ahead and get on the train now. I was going to wait to the end of the show, tell them now. Vicky Roe Radio. I need you to go ahead and follow her on Instagram. No, for real. Because I want you to say you knew her when, because you're going to see her all across television, and I don't want you to be jumping on the train later. I want people to go ahead and jump on now.
Well, I need to get tissues for this because you about to start.
No, but for real. So I call Vicky Roe and I go back. So she's Victoria to me. I know the people in Louisiana know you as Vicky, but you're right. Victoria to me.
Right. Either way, I'm good.
Yeah. So we go back. But before I even talk about where we go back, she is an afternoon personality for Q95.5. Girl, did they say Lafayette or Lafayette?
Lafayette.
Oh, so, I'm all wrong.
And listen, I hope that is no, it's because when I first got here, somebody told me to remember it as like you're laughing. So Lafayette.
Lafayette.
That always stuck. That's how I remember it.
So now that's how I remember because you and I are always laughing. So
literally
Lafayette.
Always.
Yeah, so she's in Lafayette, Louisiana, and girl, shout out to you because the ratings queen. You went down to Lafayette and took over, domination.
Listen, I half the time I'm still in shock. When I see people out, if they're like, oh, I know your voice, that still is crazy to me. I'm like, oh yeah, dang, I'm on the radio. Or just the fact that people listen to my crazy self every day, period. And that the fact that the ratings are so good, I'm not going to say it baffles me, but it's just crazy to think that you don't even realize how many people you're touching because not only can people listen obviously on the radio, but there's the app, they can listen online. So it's all this other stuff. And I'm like, dang, people really listen. And every time the ratings come out, I'm like, they love me.
They do. Girl, they love you. And I'm just so proud of you. Now, if you listen to the podcast, watch the video, I just need y'all to know I'm about to be all over the place, but it's all going to come together. Okay, I'm just so excited to talk to you. So I'm like, girl, here's some things I might talk about, but we just going to be conversational here.
Okay.
Now, before we got here in Lafayette, where you're taking over, I met you through who I consider to be my god sister, Ashley.
My best friend.
Who's your best friend. Mm-hmm. And so Ashley's parents are the godparents for my kids. And when Carlos and I first moved to Charlotte, Carlos met Ashley's dad at work. They were the only people we knew here in Charlotte. Those were our first friends in Charlotte, which is so crazy now because I feel like I've known them all my life. But at the time, you and Ashley were still in high school. Now, I ain't old. I was in my 20s. You feel me? I was in my 20s. I ain't trying to paint myself. I ain't ready for the auntie title yet. I mean, like, I got nieces and nephews, but like, don't be calling me auntie. Just call me
Not
niece.
yet, no.
Like, I
You
ain't
still
ready for it.
sick. You still
I'm still, so I was in my 20s. But anyway, I met Ashley, and then, of course, we would be around all the time. And so you and I met. And you have always had the best energy. Like, when I met you, I felt like I had always known you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, like, this right here.
That.
No, this right here, like, this is you all the time. I've never seen you having, like, you are consistently the same. And that's why I love you.
And that's what is so crazy, because I always think, like, do people think I'm really just pretending to be happy or just smiling for no? But no, I'm literally just like, of course, I'm not going to say every day is rainbows and all that, but genuinely, when I get to interact and talk with people, it's just such a good feeling. Like, I just love being around people, and I just love bringing that energy. And it's so funny because I used to work for a morning show, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
We will.
But they used to think that I used to, like, be on 5 cups of coffee. And I'm like, I don't even drink coffee. I've tried, but I just don't like it.
I can't even imagine you drinking coffee.
I would just naturally have that energy. I don't know where, I'm gonna say it comes from God. That's where it comes from. Oh. But yeah, that's just me. That's just me all the time. I love to laugh. That's why I have these bad laugh lines. But it's okay.
Me too. I just looked in the mirror the other day brushing my teeth, and I was like, "Wait, what is this?
Like,
why my cheek look like this?"
Deep, but it's okay. Just because we live in good lives.
This is the sign of laughter right here. No lie. I swear to God, I was brushing my teeth the other day, and I was like,
I see it all the time.
Yeah. Why is it so deep? It's real laughing. So what is happening here? So here's why Victoria is on here. I would want people to know who you are anyway, but what I share with you is that I'm in the program called Purpose to Platform, and it's all of these women who are working towards, finding what God's purpose is for them, walking in it fully, like with confidence, like you can do what you want to do. And the thing that I'm realizing with everybody, like, it's like different entrepreneurs, people from all walks of life. The main thing we're talking about here at the beginning is like your limiting beliefs. That's what they call it. What's the thing that's like really holding you back? Because she's like, I know you got this idea. I know you have these things you want to do, but like, there's a reason you're here and a reason you like haven't pursued it. What is it? It does not matter. I'm telling you, all ethnicities, different ages, different purpose. Some people are moms, some are not, like some are young, some are old. It's the same thing. It's like, wow, I am worried about what people will think about me, or that imposter syndrome. I don't know enough. I need to know more. Somebody else is already doing it, and so there's no room for me. Like, it's the same across the board. Like, it's just like a common theme. So then I had the idea. I was like, okay, now I don't really know. I want to do the podcast, but God could come to me and give me a shift. So, but in the meantime, we're going to keep rolling with this podcast. I was like, okay, God, I need to make what Patrice calls some sloppy progress. I'm going to keep moving because I want to keep doing the podcast. So I was like, you know what? I know some dope women who are doing some dope things. And, I think that you all would have a story to share because you probably have had your own fears, doubts, insecurities, pursuing what your dreams, your goals. And so one of the first people who came to mind was you. I was like, and we be texting all the time. We be like, girl, you killing the game. Like, we are hype women.
I'm so proud of you.
Yes. And this is real deal. We texting each other, girl, I see you. You killing the game.
Out compliment each other.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm going to one up you, girl. Yeah, and so I thought about you, and so I just thought it would be great to have you on so you could just tell about like your journey to how you got to where you are, because I've watched you, again, I'm not old, but I watched you grow up.
Literally, literally.
And I've been so inspired, and I don't just say that to you because like I know you, like it's legit, like you have inspired me to like step outside my box and like go for what I want. So now that you made it, first of all, you're not done. You're not done.
No.
You're not done. This is one of the stopping points. But this was one of your goals, which was to get on radio, but also to like do it big time. So we're gonna go backwards and
Okay.
work our way up to where you are now.
Okay. Back in
All
my
right.
prime.
Yeah, let's go. No, you girl, we ain't hit prime yet. We ain't hit prime yet, honey. Told you this is a pit stop. It's a pit stop.
You're right.
All right. So where did you get your love for, like, where do you think that started, like this love for broadcasting media? Because your whole everything has been in broadcasting and media of some sort.
It has. Honestly, I always knew that I wanted to be in entertainment. I for sure knew that, because even when I was younger, like I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a lawyer. Well, I wanted to be an entertainment lawyer. Like it was always something in entertainment. And mind you, I was too young to even know what any of this really meant. But I just knew I loved when I saw, like the movie premiere lights going back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to be walking there one day. So I always knew it was that. But I think, what really shifted to when it became like radio is honestly just growing up. My dad, my mom, and my sister, all heavy into music. Like my dad, I'm sure at one point thought he was a DJ, because he would have like the latest records, the latest CDs, the latest everything, and would just always like, okay, I'm gonna play this song after this song after this. So
Yeah.
He was heavy into music. My mom, very, very eclectic. So she loved all kinds of music, which I think kind of got into my older sister, Crystal. She was very eclectic with her music. And of course, because, we're not too far in age, we grew up together. Like I'm listening to everything she's listening to. So I always appreciate music as a whole and all the different types of music. And I felt like, what was a better way to combine love for music, wanting to be in entertainment? Boom, radio. There it goes.
Now, is that did you major in communications at App State?
I did. It was communications with a focus in broadcasting and electronic media.
Well, shout out to App State. Y'all rep your school.
Listen.
Say App State. Let somebody see that look. Oh, who went to App State?
Listen,
App State don't
you
play.
say the whole name, you got to say it right. It's Appalachian State University.
Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Appalachian State University.
They'll say it they'll make up some kind of way to say it that's not Appalachian.
Yeah,
but
Appalachian State University.
That's really a big shout out to App State though, because I didn't know at the time, but App State's broadcasting program was, I guess it was like elevated than other schools. And I say that because a lot of people that I know that went to school for communications and stuff like that, either software they didn't have or certain courses they didn't have. And I'm like, oh, I thought everybody had, this kind of broadcasting experience. Like I thought it was kind of universal. I know all schools don't necessarily have the same thing, but it seemed like a lot of people that I were talking with were like, no, we didn't have that. We didn't learn that, or they learned it after. And I'm like super thankful for App State for that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you go there and do you explore everything while you're there? Are you exploring TV or are you like primarily radio?
So when I initially got there, it was like freshman year, I'm going to the radio station.
Okay.
So I was always in the radio station just because I ended up meeting like the guy that heads the radio station, Dan Valley. I love him. I still talk to him to this day, but I went in there probably like a couple days after school started, sat down, talked with him, and instantly he was like, okay, yeah, you can come. So I was volunteering, and I ended up volunteering and working my way up to ultimately co-hosting a show with two other girls. But senior year, I think it was senior year, maybe junior year, I started dabbling kind of like into TV. And once I did that and I was doing, some of the courses, I'm like, hold up, TV is a great thing to slice bread. Like I have got to get to TV. TV is amazing. And so that's kind of when I started exploring TV, and I was like, okay, radio, I might have to pause you. I'm going to go in the direction of TV.
Yeah.
So that kind of trickled into after college and what happened after that.
Okay, well, look, let me show you my reporter-esque ways.
Okay.
I'm looking at what you did. You did intern for Rachel Ray.
Yes. So after college, I graduated. I started working at marketing advertising company, but it was as like an admin assistant. And I don't know why, but I felt like cubicles always gave me real bad anxiety. Like I did not,
Mm.
I did not, and no shade at all. It was just like
Yeah.
me personally, something, I don't know, something about a cubicle just like made me antsy. And I'm like, I have to do something else. So I'm like in this cubicle and searching for jobs every day. Like, I'm like, I have to do something else. I don't want to
I
do this.
remember this.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying. Like I did my research, but like I remember this.
Yeah. And so it's so crazy because one of those days when I'm like, okay, there wasn't really that much to do online. And I find two things. I find application for Rachel Ray internship and also a reporter position that's also in New York for, I don't even remember what channel it was. But I remember applying and I got responses back for both. And I don't know, no, and I have to stop saying I don't know because I know it's God.
Yeah.
Literally, an interview for one was one day, the next day was the other one. So I'm like, I can make this trip up to New York, stay for 2 days, and knock it out.
Yeah.
So my went home, told my mom, and shout out to my parents too, which I think you have to have your support system is so important in all this.
So important.
But I'll talk about that in a second. But my dad got on the computer. Okay, we're gonna find tickets. Of course, the plane tickets were astronomical because it was like it was a quick turnaround. I think it was like we had to go in like a day or two or something crazy.
Oh yeah, that was high.
So we were like, you know what? We're gonna look at bus tickets. So my dad found bus tickets, got one for me and my mom. Whenever that was, the day after or 2 days later, we all four of us, me, my mom, my sister, and my dad, drove to where the bus was picking us up. We all said goodbye. Me and my mom got on the bus. We're headed to New York.
I love it.
And they literally have always supported me, and I love that. Like at the drop of a dime, it was like, okay, we're gonna try this. So we went up, did the interviews, and the second day, that day, we had to. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I really think the interviews were on the same day, actually.
Oh, look at you living the movie life. Listen,
I really think they were on the same day. And the crazy part is the next day I had to go to work. So we did the interviews, ended up getting back on the bus, drove back, got back in time. I think the office, I was supposed to open the office because I was there to open the office every day, my job back in Charlotte. At 8:00. I got there at like 7:58, ran into the bathroom, changed clothes. It was at my desk by the time the first person walked in.
Like y'all don't even know. Just whirlwind.
Happened these past couple days. So it was a whirlwind, but didn't end up getting the reporter position, which I really wasn't surprised because I didn't have any experience whatsoever. And of course, New York is a big market, so you kind of got to have something. But Rachel Ray, they accepted me, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna leave this paying job for internship. All right, let's do it.
Girl, talk about a leap though.
Man,
that's a leap.
I do want to, this is where I have to talk about God and your support system because, you have to have faith to do something like that, especially when it's like, it wasn't that I was, I didn't think I was old or anything, but you're getting older. It's like, okay, do I want to take a position where I'm not getting paid at all? I have to rely on my parents. And, thankfully I have parents that I can rely on, and really talking with them, talking with God, of course, first, and making sure like, is this where I need to be? Like, God, I don't want to hear the answer that I think is you, but it's really just me saying, I want to hear from you. And, once it was clear enough from God, talking to my parents and my sister, just having that support system of really saying, if this is what you want to do, this is your dream, we're here 100%. And yes, you need to do it. Don't worry about it. We'll be here to help you. We'll be here to support you. And my dad making that call to my aunt, because that's where we're originally from, is New York. So we had family there. So, of course he calls my aunt like, hey, can she stay with you? I mean, took care of pretty much everything. So all I had to focus on was really like making sure I did good at the job. Everything else, as far as like how I felt, because I felt like I did hear from God, I really wasn't worried. And especially just having people there that are there to support you, even when you feel like, I don't know if I should do this, even though deep down, having people to push you up in those moments so important,
Yeah.
especially when you know it's something that you really want to do. But you have to just take that leap sometimes. It may be scary. It may sound crazy to a lot of
Yeah.
people. Like I said, leaving a paying job to go to an internship in another state.
Yeah.
Mind you, my aunt and my uncle, they live in New Jersey, and internship was in the city in New York.
Ooh,
So
that can be.
it was a lot to consider, but I'll tell you also how God works. Rachel Ray ended up working, I want to say just a few blocks from where my uncle worked. So he had to drive into the city any morning anyway. So I think we were like a block or two away from each other. So it worked out so perfectly.
It
It really,
did. See, I love this is the part of the story that I love, because I think people would see you on the radio. And so, there are lots of people who have like the desire to be, an on-air personality. And I
right.
think people want to just jump and just get it. And I'm not saying that it couldn't happen for some people, but a lot of times people don't see like the grind and the
Oh
years
yeah.
stuff that you
I
had to
mean,
put in to get to that.
honestly, even before the Rachel Ray internship, I was working part-time promotions at a bunch of different radio stations. Like, because a lot of the times, usually, I'm not going to say always, but usually that's how you get in and kind of get to know people, is you start in the promotions department. And a lot
Yeah.
of time, those positions are part-time. So I've worked part-time promotions probably at 3 or 4 stations, even
Just
before
getting
that
your foot
Rachel
in the
Ray
door.
internship. Yeah, getting my foot in the door. Mind you, I'm 5 feet, having to drive a big Sprinter van, with all the equipment in the back. That was for one. I'll never forget that station, just because I'm like, a Sprinter van, it doesn't even have windows on the side. So if I
No,
need to get on
you can't. You
the
like you just
scariest
trusting in
drive,
God.
the scariest drives of my life were in that. But I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you literally, it's even when like people say just finding a job, period, looking for a job is a whole nother job.
That's a job within itself.
It really is. And so, I mean, working those promotions department, trying to maintain connections when really I didn't have too many, but honestly, and anybody around me at the time could tell you, I lived with my laptop on my lap. Like there would be
Like
times like
searching.
my family would have to tell me, no, like you have to get off. You've been on this laptop all day. Ashley, all the time. Please get off the laptop. Like you haven't even eaten. What is going on?
You like, I'm searching for my dreams,
I
girl.
mean, it's a lot that goes into it. So I mean, just working those part-time jobs, and again, like I said, having that opportunity to have family and parents that are there to help me out, because I know not everybody has that. So I
Yeah.
was super blessed, and I am super blessed to still have both parents who are, I mean, I literally feel like, and this is just the confidence they put in me, I could tell them today that I wanted to quit and become an astronaut. And they would say,
Like,
okay, come
okay.
home, we'll figure out how to do it. Right?
Yeah, that's the best support system ever.
I could literally tell, and my sister would be right there too, like cheering me on, like, don't worry about what these people say. We'll figure
You
it
will
out.
be an astronaut.
Yeah. Like,
We
they
got
just
you.
put that much confidence in me. So I feel like I could do that. But like I said, working those part-time jobs, living on a laptop, like going dizzy, getting vertigo, because I'm just like, I'm
So
not getting off
laser
the
focused.
computer until I find what I need to find, until I get that job.
But so then you had, again, shout out to my reporter skills.
Hello,
Yeah, Vicky Roe
research.
Radio has a website. So you worked with American Idol. Did I
Yes,
make? Okay, I was like, did I make
yes.
that up?
Shout out to my sister, because that actually opportunity actually came from her. She was going to UNCC at the time, and there was a posting. I guess they had put it up on like a UNCC job board or something. And so she told me about it, and I was like, "Dang, well, do I have to be a UNCC student? Because I don't go there." So like, no, just fill out the information. And so I ended up filling it out. And so when they had their stint of auditions and stuff in Charlotte, I was able to go in. Thankfully, it was paid, because listen, sometimes these opportunities that you have to take in the beginning are not paid. And
Yeah,
you also have to be okay with that.
yeah.
And don't let people get in your ear talking about, no, you need to get paid. When you're just developing, you got to do
Yes.
some stuff for free.
Yes, and that's something that a lot of people, I feel like that's underrated. People don't tell you about that. Everybody wants to tell you, I know you ain't doing that for free. So like, for example, with me training, I made a career change late in life. But I was like, I don't want to just be like an okay trainer. Like, I want to be like one of the best. And so here I am hustling 3 kids, full-time job, but I was making time 3 days a week to leave straight from work, to go to a gym, to work the floor with another trainer. And I did that for months and I didn't get paid not one dime, but like the experience of it. Because think of the number of times you go to get something and people say, like, you have to have experience. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to get the experience if you won't give me the experience because you won't get the job? And so you sometimes have to be willing to make that sacrifice to say, well, like, I just want to spend some time with these people so that I can learn as much as I can so that I have something.
What I tell you,
that is a type of investment. People think sometimes that investments are always monetary. It's like, no, are you willing to make an investment in yourself, whatever that looks like, so that you can work towards what you want to do?
Yeah, 100%. You have to be willing to do that. But, you know, thankfully that experience was probably one of the few that was actually paid that I actually did. And, you know, American Idol came through, so I was able to do that. And I remember I ended up taking off of work to do work. But I just knew like it was going to be an experience. And I, at the time, and I still kind of am, was like obsessed with Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
Because of like, oh, he's so fine. I mean, he's a looking man, but just kind of like the mogul he made himself into.
Yeah.
And just like in all different areas. I was like, that is like something to aspire to be.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I have to, because I could meet Ryan Seacrest. I probably won't, but maybe I could. But on the last day, he ended up riding by in a golf cart, and I was just like, hi, Ryan. And he waved back. So I was like,
yes. You met Ryan Seacrest.
I met him. We're friends. It's a whole thing. But you know.
I'll tell you, that 6 degrees of separation is real. I know Ryan Seacrest now. Yes. So then you do eventually end up getting a job in Alabama. Was it Alabama?
Yep, it was
Alabama. As an actual, like, on TV, you were a reporter.
Yes. So I this was actually right after Rachel Ray. Yeah, I was gonna say I think I might have left Rachel Ray a week early, or it might have been right at the end, but the timing worked out perfectly. But because, you know, while I'm, you know, doing this internship, I'm not just like, okay, get comfortable, hopefully they hire me. I'm still on a computer, like, I gotta find a job. It's great, but, you know, now I gotta, you know, also be focused on finding my next step. So I was doing a whole lot of searching, and, you know, coming out of college, like I said, I took those TV courses, and I'm like, forget radio, I gotta do TV. I'm into TV. So I'm looking for all TV jobs. And, you know, there were quite a few, a lot of them, of course, was like experience type thing. And I didn't have any. And I remember before I left college, though, me and one of the girls who I had a radio show with, who she also wanted to do TV, we ended up just going out making a reel pretty much. And we doing stand-ups in front of different areas, had different outfit changes. And so that's really all I had to send out. And the job in Dothan was posted. It was Dothan, Alabama. Shout out to Dothan, because I had 2 times there. Amazing stories. Some that I have to tell you off camera. But anyway. But, you know, once I saw what I have a habit of doing, which is still a good thing too, if you're looking for a job, what I had a habit of doing was, whether it was a radio station or a TV station that I was trying to get hired at, once I did the application process or submitted it however they wanted to submit it, I went, and any person's name or email that I could find on that website, they were getting an email from me.
Girl, come on now.
I don't care I don't care what the position was. It didn't even matter. If their email was on their website, like, there would be days I know I had to send out probably at least 100 emails.
That is crazy.
It is. Now when I think about it, I'm like, I was insane. I mean, it was kind of a good thing, but it was also insane.
Yeah, but that's how you do it. Like, I'm telling you.
To be sending out that many emails. So I would literally, every single job I applied for, whatever station it was, I emailed every single person. Because, I mean, hopefully at least one person, even if it was 10 people, at least one person would get back to me. And so the job for Dothan, I had multiple people getting back to me. And it's crazy because one of the girls who ended up writing me back was like, just the way you worded your email, you know, really makes me want to help. And I don't even remember what I said, but I was very hungry. So clearly I said something right. And she's like, I really just want to help. I'm going to send your information to my news director now. So I'm like, oh, great. This is great. But, you also don't want to get excited because a lot of people always say they're going to help. And
they're going to say they hook you up and okay.
Stuff
The
sometimes
position's no longer available. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's just like, then you never hear from them again. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good. Hopefully we'll see. And literally probably like an hour later, she's like, my boss is going to call you tomorrow.
You're like,
I'm like, hey, are you serious? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, okay, this is what he might ask. This is what he might, I don't know this girl at all, but literally from that one email, she helped me out so much. She's literally, I know the reason why I got the job, because my reel is terrible. Well, that old
you like,
it was bad. I don't even want to find it to show it to anybody. Like it was real bad.
You like, so hold on. First of all, why am I this is real life. I want
trying to come in.
I'm like, I know y'all hear me recording in here. I already put my arm up here and like close my little studio door. And my child is like, no, I'm gonna come in and let me finish recording and then you look beautiful. Yeah. So look.
She got to show off the hair.
Let me tell you something. This is gonna go in my little thing where I'm like, I remember when I was recording in the studio in my closet.
Trying to hold the door closed.
And I had to hold. Did you see my arm? I was like.
I just kept talking just in case you still wanted to.
Yeah, no, I was like, no, just keep going, Victoria. Just keep going. Yeah, but you see, you can't underestimate people talk about that all the time. I heard somebody say the other day on Instagram, I can't remember. I told you I follow too many people on Instagram. But he was saying he had made something real, like not like your news reel. But he was like, I didn't think it was that good, but like I was like, let me stop overthinking everything and put it up anyway. And he ended up getting like over 1 million views on the thing that he thought was like wasn't even that good. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's when hey, I made this reel. I don't think it's that great, but here we go. Shoot your shot.
Listen, and then it's so crazy too because with that station, ended up being like 2 other people who wrote me back, ended up being really helpful, but literally had the interview, the next day, remembering everything she's telling me, trying to make sure I'm like staying calm, but my heart is pounding out my chest because I'm like, oh, I need a job after this. I don't want to have to keep saying, Mom and Dad, I need help.
Yeah, I need some help. Yeah, I want to make it on my own. I want to be able to like support myself.
And it was probably the next day or the day after that I spoke with him. He emailed me saying, congratulations. And I just remember looking at the email and just crying. Like I was just frozen and crying because I was like,
I got it.
Is this real? Like, do I really have a job? And I just remember calling my parents like, oh my God. They're like, wait, calm down. What's happening?
You're like, I got a job.
So that was a huge moment just to have. It means so much when you just have that one person that could just give you that yes and just take that chance on you.
Girl, let me tell you. One of the other things that I know I keep talking about, but I'm so wrapped up in this program right now. She always says, there's always somebody watching you who can bless you. And like, what are you showing them? And I'm like,
write that down. Hold on.
Yes, girl, type it up. There's always somebody watching you who can bless you. And she's like, so what are you showing them? And I was like, man, that is deep. So, there was that one person who was able to bless you.
I like that. That is deep.
Girl, is that not deep? Because you don't know. You think about, you see stuff and you have views. You don't know who those views are. Yeah, especially if you have an open account, like a public account. You don't know who's looking at it.
Exactly. And that's the thing that, I have to remind myself of, and that, I try to tell other people too, like, even if you post something and you feel like you're not getting the views or the likes or whatever it is, you still have that content there. Like, keep posting, because I always say the right person is going to see your stuff one day.
Yes. You
never know what day, but the right person is going to see your stuff.
And then they're looking through your page and they're like, oh, look at all this content she has. Look at all the stuff she's doing.
Regardless of what she was getting or how many likes, she still stayed consistent with it.
Yeah, because somebody who's really looking for something, they're not going to care about that. They're going to be like, oh, she fits exactly what it is that I'm trying to do. Like, this is what I was looking for.
Exactly.
Now, when you got this job in Alabama, I'm not going to lie. First of all, I was proud of you, but I was like, Dothan, Alabama.
When I tell you, my whole family was scared. They were just like you. They were so proud of me, but they were so scared because, sometimes when you think of some of those states.
Yeah, you like. They're not friendly for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, my grandfather, God rest his soul, he was alive at the time. I remember my mom telling me, she was like, yeah, he's nervous for you because Alabama
Yeah.
is something
And
else.
then
But
Dothan. I was like, where is Dothan?
mind you, I never heard of, and I'm so thankful that I have a spirit of like, if the opportunity is right and it's there, I'm just gonna go. Like, I didn't feel nervous or anything. Like, anytime that I moved, and I moved a couple times, I was always like, okay, let's go, let's
And
do
you
it.
go by yourself. That was what was always so impressive to me. I'm like, Victoria, this is crazy. You're about to go to Dothan, Alabama by
By
yourself.
myself,
And you're like,
literally.
girl, I got the opportunity. I'm going.
I gotta roll out. I gotta go because I know this is just gonna help me to continue to elevate. And I'm trying to think. Honestly, I wasn't nervous. I think I was more so excited too because this was gonna be the first time where I'm like having my own apartment too. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh, I'm grown, honey. I got a job. I got a place. Get back off me. Back
so
up.
I was super, super excited to be there. And I was blessed again because I feel like God always puts me in situations um really on a daily, but when I'm thinking about new jobs, like to always come into like a good situation. And I know it's not always going to be like that. It's not going to always be that way. But even when I was going to Dothan, I was nervous about, being the new girl starting and da da da.
Yeah.
But at that time, they were hiring a couple different people. So it was like me and maybe two or three. No, it was like two other girls who were coming in new.
Yeah.
So it was
So you
like,
had to be by yourself.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that worked out perfectly because we were all new. And I mean, the newsroom was super tight. Like, I ended up working with some amazing people. And I mean, we all hung out, literally. Even when we weren't working, we would have Friendsgivings together. Like, we would all hang out. So it ended up being a really, really amazing experience. Like, even if I said I had to go back and like, no, I should spend more time in radio, I wouldn't trade that experience just because it taught me so much,
Yeah.
on and off camera, dealing with different personalities. And it was something that I could say I did. It
Yeah.
wasn't like now I have to look back and be like, man, should I have done it? I did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was on to
And
the
you
next one.
had, and then it also gave you experience because that's like the
Yeah.
priceless thing. But then I
And
get the what?
wait, and it gave me my first and only billboard.
Oh, Vic.
That was the
Like,
first time, girl, seeing myself on a billboard.
yes.
I was like, oh, I could just die a happy woman now.
You
Like,
like I was working in a office with cubicles and like working part-time trying to do promotions for these radio stations, and now here I am on a billboard.
on a billboard and trying to get that picture of me on a billboard because it was me and two other girls. And we were the face because they were starting, it was a CBS station, but I guess the same people had ended up buying the NBC affiliate. So it was all in one newsroom, but they wanted me and two other girls to be the face of the NBC affiliate. So that's why we had the billboard. And it was me and one of the other girls trying to get that picture. It's on the side of a road. And it's not like a side of a road where you can kind of pull over, take the picture.
Yeah.
It's literally, you have to kind of like stop a little in the lane. And then right next to it is a ditch.
So
And I'm thinking like gators. I'm thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. But at that time, I did not care. I was going to get that picture that
like y'all gonna see me on this billboard.
y'all going to see me on this billboard. So definitely wouldn't trade that experience because now I can say I was on a billboard.
Well, but then after, so you're there, you're doing your thing, you're on a billboard. So I know
Mhm.
you're in Dothan, and then I get the news: Victoria is coming back to the Queen City. She coming back, Jack.
Charlotte. So as much as I loved it there, it's kind of funny because when I got there, not too long after, I kind of felt like, I don't know if this is for me. Like
Mm.
it wasn't that the people did anything. It wasn't anything in particular. It was just like a feeling that I don't know if TV is necessarily what I thought it was or, what I really want to do.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it was still new. So I'm like, maybe it's just new jitters or something like that. And, after about close to 2 years in, I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. And I'll tell you what probably helped with that final straw news is not for the faint of heart. Let me tell you that first and foremost.
It's not, because I don't even like to watch it.
And listen, it's a lot. Like mentally, it's a lot, and just having to go and work on that deadline, and you're like waiting to interview people, but you got to broadcast at 4:00. Your interview is wrapping up at 3:00. You still got to write your script, edit. Like it's a whole lot that goes into it, and also too, sometimes you have to go on the scene of stuff that they still haven't caught the suspect. Like one of the last times for me was like there was a shooting, and
so you like so right.
This was at a time where I kind of knew it wasn't for me. So sometimes I would make myself scarce and hide in the bathroom until the editor gave it to somebody else. But that day I had no such luck, and there was a shooting, and I had to go out and then get footage, try to talk to people. One, I knew I wasn't going to talk to people because once I got there and I assessed the situation, this is not what I need to be going doing.
Yeah, you're like, this is not what we should be doing right now.
And then I'm getting footage, and then I see like a group of guys walking from like a block over and like getting closer and closer towards me, and like literally look like they're walking towards me. And I'm like, they could have wanted to say hello or look at my camera. I don't know, but I was out of there.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take no chances. I'm not taking no.
So you're like, I got to get out of here. So how did you get the job here? Now, let me tell you, she didn't just come and get a job. She came and got a job on a top-rated morning show, which was my favorite at the time. So when I found out that's where you were going, I was like, shut up.
Yeah, and you were a loyal listener. You would text me in the morning. That was so funny, or just whatever we were talking about. You were a loyal listener, for real.
I was so loyal. I was like, oh, there go Victoria. I hear her.
So how did that come about? Because that is actually the guy, Dan Valley from App State, who, like I said, is such a great man to help you personally and professionally. But I ended up writing him, before I had made my exit from Dothan, saying, I really want to get back into radio. I'm in Dothan, Alabama right now. I'm on TV. And he is just amazing, because not too long after I wrote him, he ended up, writing me back saying he was going to, talk to some people, blah, blah. Now, by the time I moved, I didn't have anything lined up, but I just kind of knew it was time to go. And, at the time also, that was towards the end is when my grandfather had passed away. So it was just like, that was like emotionally wearing on me. I knew it wasn't really where I wanted to be. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just take a chance. I'm going back home, no plan, no job.
Here we go. Here we go
again. Like, I'm like, girl, you are milking this no plan, no job. Okay, we're gonna do it. So, I went back home, and it was probably about a month in. There was one day where I got 3 emails spread throughout the day, and they were all like, hey, heard you were looking for a job. And it was 3 different stations. And so I know they came from Dan. Like, I know, I know he put in the word and really like helped me get those. So I had 3 interviews, and, I ended up choosing that. I ended up choosing the morning show, and it worked. You know what? Actually, before I even got the morning show, I did have an opportunity to work at another radio station right before I got to the morning show. And it was another part-time promotions position, but I was back home. I had nothing else to do. So I'm like, I'm going to take this.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So, I was there for probably about a month or 2. And then I got the call from the morning show. And it was actually while I was at the other job. So I walked outside, and I'm like, hey, they're like, hey, we're, Dan gave us your information, and, we wanted to talk to you. You have time to do an interview. So we set up an interview and everything. And the next day they called me with the news that I got it.
Let's go. I need people to keep paying attention to this progression, though, because listen,
increments. And still, you got to think, like, it's still like part-time and, living at home and going through the struggle of like, dang, I'm out of college. had my own spot. Now I'm back at home,
Yeah.
working part-time. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, so I just need people to hear the story behind this so that they don't
Yeah.
get frustrated when that everybody wants to start and skyrocket to the top, and like there's so many other steps. But back to this, I was so hyped when you got this job because I was like, this is my show. Like
Yeah.
I already listened to this. I'm like, wait a minute, you about to be on here. And what I love was because you went on as a producer for the morning show.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you became like a regular fixture for the morning
Yeah.
show. So like you would be on air all the time and people knew you
Yes.
because your voice is so distinct. Like
Very distinct.
if I hear you anywhere, I'll be like, don't you lie to me. I know that's
No,
your
seriously, I can't even do prank calls because it's something about my voice, and it's just people know it, and so I
yeah.
can't get away with it.
So you were such a hit. Like you were a hit. Y'all had like great chemistry. It was so
Yeah.
good. Like you did an amazing job producing that show. It was like I would be listening in the morning.
Thank
Like I said,
you.
I would text you like, girl, y'all crazy.
And no, seriously. And what's so crazy is, producing a morning show in a market like Charlotte is a huge deal. I had no producer experience. I did not know what I was doing.
But you had experience though, and
Yeah.
then you had like, like just your work ethic to back you up. And so
Yeah.
you stepped into it. But you could have said though, when they asked you, you could have said, I don't have no experience producing no show.
I was gonna make it. Listen, I was gonna Google, YouTube my butt off, and
Listen.
it work because
No.
that was such a huge opportunity. It was no way I was gonna say, no way I was gonna say no to it. And it's so funny that you said that I was such a fixture on the show because, I was on, periodically, and I knew that people, knew who I was and stuff like that. But when they announced that I was leaving. And I still like have screenshots in my phone of like all the tweets of people that day saying, "Oh my God, we're gonna miss you so much." And I'm like, the tweets were like rolling in, and I'm like, that many people knew who
Yeah,
I was.
people knew who you were. I'm telling you, you would come in and talk, and it would just be again. The chemistry was so good. Y'all were so hilarious. It was just I was so sad because I was like, I just like being like I know somebody on the show. I
It
know
was
somebody on the
baffling
show.
to me that people knew. I still get like, I cannot believe people know or
Yeah,
listen and know who I was on that show when I wasn't, a main figurehead of the show.
yeah.
I was the producer for it. But that experience taught me so much. Like, it taught me so much about what I didn't know that I didn't know. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this.
there
The
were
one I didn't know.
so many things. I mean, just behind the scenes, like what goes into it, dealing with different talents, working with different softwares, having to interview, hire, and train interns while I'm trying to produce the show, teaching that. I mean, when I say I became the multitask queen,
Yeah,
like I had to learn how to multitask and quick because it
yeah,
wasn't like, okay, we can slow down our shows because we have no, it's like while you editing this audio, while you talking to interns, while you uploading on the website, you also have to answer calls, put it in the system, make sure it's right, prep the callers so they know what to say. It was a lot. It was
yeah.
it was a lot.
Well, again, I need people to listen. She didn't say, "Oh, I've never produced. Let me not take this." You were like, "Oh, this is an opportunity. I will
Mhm.
figure it out. Let's go." You get
Listen.
in there, and this show again,
Mhm.
top
Mhm.
rated show. But then that inkling was still there. So this station was more like a pop station. It was like a mix of like pop
Yeah, it's
and
like a top
R&B.
40.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
you can hear a little bit of everything on here. Now, I mean, I listen, even though I'm an R&B person, yeah, I'm like Neil, so R&B, but the morning show was hilarious. Like, so I listened for the morning. Honestly, I didn't listen to that station outside of the morning show. I only listened for the morning show.
Yep.
And so you are killing the game, but there was still like this inkling where you were like, this is not stop. Like I'm cool being a producer and kind of being here, but like I'm
Right.
meant to be on the air. Like
Yeah.
I'm meant to be there.
Yeah. It was something that I still knew that I want to have my own show. Like I feel like I can do it. I want to be the talent on the show. And I feel like, having that experience of going through all those things of working in promotions, of doing internships, of working in TV and even producing that show really helped to round out my experience and round me out just as a person as a whole, professionally as well, to know that there was the opportunity. I just had to find it, but I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
So, it was scary because that position, it wasn't a big market. It was a great position. But what a lot of people didn't know is that was a part-time position. So,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, honestly, even on my last day when I was talking to just people in the office, they were like, what? Oh, you're leaving? I was like, yeah, I need a full-time opportunity.
I had no idea.
They're like, wait, you weren't full-time? No, a lot of people did not know that was not.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and so it was, I mean, and mind you, I was, of course, have to be there before they get there, and I'm not leaving until way after they leave because I need to make sure everything's updated on the website. Stuff is ready for tomorrow. Of course, their show prep and handle that, but I, on the back end, I just have to make sure bigger picture everything is done. So, yeah, I mean, long hours were put in. Like I had to be there by 5 a.m. because it's the morning.
Start at 6.
Yeah. And honestly, just because I like to prep and take my time with it, I would like to get there earlier than that. So if it would be 4:30, earlier than that.
I used to work those hours. I know that. Whoa.
And I wouldn't leave until sometimes afternoons, maybe sometimes around 2:00 or a little after.
Wow.
Yeah, just because I really wanted to make sure everything was done. Or, in the beginning, it was still new. So I'm making sure, okay, I need to stay after.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
For the next day.
Yeah.
So, it was a lot of hours, a lot of work put in. But yeah, just like you, a lot of people didn't know that it was part-time. And, that was another factor. Like, I want full-time and I want to try out being a talent. So, of course, I'm looking and, I ended up, I mean, at the time I had probably a couple interviews, none of them panned out, but, the people it was still good experience to know like how an interview would go.
Yeah.
So, honestly though, during that time, there were so many times where I felt like, no, I don't want to do, like, I just need to find a different path. Like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it because nothing's panning out. It's taking too long, or at least in my head. God's timing is always right, but in my time, it was taking too long. And I'm like, God, this is not, okay, this is not what I'm supposed to do. Because clearly I would have had something by now. And what's so crazy, and I don't think I even told a lot of people this, but while I'm looking for jobs and everything like that, on those, there were 3 times where I got to a point where it's like, I'm not going to do it. I need to look for something else. And each of those 3 times, the next day, I got an email or something for an interview or a phone call for an interview. The 3 times that I really felt like I'm giving up, literally the next day, each of those 3 times, and they were sporadic, spread out.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna give up. Email
for an interview for a job, and I'm like, clearly the first 2 times it didn't pan out. So, but it was just for me. That was also like God saying, "Hey, listen,
I got you. This
going.
Is the path."
And what's also crazy, and I have to keep talking about God because how he works and just like how present he is, you just got to look for it. Like nothing's just a coincidence, at least not
nothing.
I know it's God. But those 3 times also. So, those days where I was like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. Those days I would be like, okay, well, I'm going to look for a different job. What else do I like to do? Let me think. So I would try to think about different things that I like to do. And every time I went to fill out an application or something I like to do, like the website's working fine, perfect. But when I go to fill out the application, my computer froze.
Oh my gosh, girl, that's not coincidence. That is not a coincidence.
The 3rd time it happened, I got chills. Like the first 2 times, I'm like, what is wrong with this? And the crazy part is, it was like my dad worked in IT, so he's always been a techie guy. So we have multiple computers and laptops at the house. At least at the time we did. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't work. Let me try another one. everything, go to all different websites, everything's working fine, but the application page kept freezing.
Girl, that's God.
And I would be like side-eyeing the ceiling like, every single time,
Nothing but.
those 3 times that would happen, that happened on those days, because I would always be trying to fill something else out. And then the next day I would get a call or email about an interview. So I'm like, oh, okay, so you really trying to tell me. It's great. Like,
but
still,
girl,
if you think about it, it's crazy, but I can vividly remember like going to different websites, trying different things. Like, okay, so it's not the computer, it's literally this application page.
Yeah, he's like, no. But aren't you glad that the application didn't go through? Because now you are the on-air personality, Q95.5, and girl. So what I need people to do, I need you to go to her website. Is it just VickyRoeRadio.com?
VickyRoeRadio.com.
Okay, VickyRoeRadio.com. Go ahead and swipe through the celebrity gallery. You are meeting all of these people. Now, I'm really about to sound like an auntie, because the person I was most like, oh my gosh, was Keith Sweat. But I was like, she on the stage with Keith Sweat.
You and me, but when I tell you, that was the most fun concert of my life. Like, Keith Sweat put on a show. Do you hear me? And I got to say, mind you, it was my first Keith Sweat concert. And I got to be on stage dancing.
Yes, you were, honey. Looking fabulous, too. Holla. Looking good.
It's so crazy because the dancers, they came, you know, me and the guy who I'm on with in the afternoons, Vinny, we were on the side of the stage, you know, just hanging out, because Vinny was, did Vinny host? Yeah, I think Vinny hosted the show. So we're, you know, on the side of the stage watching the show, getting my life to all the jams that my mom and my daddy played. And the dancer's like, do y'all want to come out on stage? And we're like, come out on stage and do what? And she's like, dance. We have like a dance section that we're getting ready to do. And I'm like, no, you know what it was? She came, she was like, do y'all want to come on stage? And we're like, sure. So we're like walking up to the stage and we're like, wait, what are we doing? She's like, gonna be dancing. And we're like, dancing?
Like, what?
We had no clue, but it was already too late. We were literally like walking on the stage.
You're like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
Girl, I could not believe I was on stage at a Keith Sweat concert dancing. The time of my life.
But it doesn't even stop there. Like, seriously, if you go and scroll, I remember, first of all, Sammy, that was my boy back in the day.
Yes. I've been blessed to talk to so many different people. And, you know, of course, the celebrity part of it is so cool, but I really like to hear like their story. Yeah. So, you know, that was one of the things that I challenged myself to do was like, you know, ask more in-depth questions. Of course, you know, we got to ask kind of the surface ones, the things that people want to know, stuff like that. But I really, you know, was trying to challenge myself to more so like ask more in-depth questions. Now, of course, with all of them, you can't, because sometimes there are time constraints or things like that, or things that are off limits that you can't talk about. So there's all of that. But, you know, I really like to hear their story, because I really like to hear people's story, like how we're talking now and how you're always like, you know, listen to the progression, listen to the story. Like, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I've been blessed to talk to a lot of people, and just like, even whether it's before I hit the record button or, you know, after, just to kind of hear some of their story and hear the human part of them. That's what I really love.
I'm so proud of you. Like, every time I see you put up a video with another interview that you have, I'm like, look at this. Like, just because I've seen the whole process. So to see you be, you know, like the voice of the afternoon, you know, show there, which is like so huge because people are driving home. Like, so I always had a morning show that I would listen to, but then I would have an afternoon show that I would listen to. Yeah. And to me, like, they're both equally as important. Honestly, like, afternoon is really what hits different because the traffic is crazy. And so I wouldn't even get mad about traffic because of like the show that I'm listening to in the afternoon.
The afternoon drive, it's a big slot.
It is a huge slot to get. I mean, like, your time slot is so, like fire, 3 to 7, like that is prime time
Oh yeah.
radio, and
Oh,
you're on there, and every time you know put up on your story with the thing covered, guess who I'm getting ready to interview? I'm like, who? Click and go. You're interviewing all of
yeah.
these people, and it's just inspiring to have seen the whole thing. So I
Mm.
hope, if nothing else, besides being entertained, girl, you can tell a story, honey. You
I
can tell. I have been so entertained here. Like, for real, for a second, I forgot what we were even doing. I'm like, Lord, I'm recording a podcast. Okay, that's what we're doing. I forgot what we're doing. I think we just talking.
excited. Thank
Like,
you.
I've been so drawn in
Oh,
and just
thank you.
inspired. It's just a reminder to people, like, just go for it, but also just know that there are some people who might have an overnight type thing, but most
Right,
people
right.
have a story of progression.
Seriously.
And so I hope, if nothing else, what they'll get from it is like you were willing to take chances, willing to go
Yeah.
places that other people wouldn't go. 'Cause I'm telling you, I would not have gone to Dothan, Alabama. I'm just gonna tell you now to miss my blessing, because I ain't going to Dothan, Alabama. So so just being willing to kind of, even sometimes step back. And I think what prevents people sometimes from stepping back is feeling like they would be like, I don't want to go home, or I don't want to have to, and just the fact that you were like, listen, I got plans. God is showing me stuff. I'm willing to
Yeah.
make these moves to get where I am. And so now you live in Lafayette, killing
Yeah.
the game, ratings on fire, interviewing celebrities, got your own space,
Listen.
like you are doing the thing.
But you know what? And as I appreciate that so much, just because you have literally been there for like through it all.
Through it all.
But I don't want people to forget or even like misconstrue like the fact that I am here and I am doing this, that, everything is amazing and it's always amazing, because as happy as I am, that's just naturally who I am. There are bad days. There are days where I'm like, am I even good enough to be today? Like, I was trying to record something today and I could not get it right. And I'm like, they pay me to talk for a living. I can't even do that. Why? Like, it's no way. It's no way. I'm just not good. Like, so those thoughts still happen. Those moments still happen of being, insecure, of being just afraid. And especially with somebody who deals with anxiety, which is something new to me. That's still like a whole thing that I'm trying to navigate through as well.
Yeah.
Because when you do have these big interviews and stuff like that, my anxiety is through the roof. I'm like, oh God, I got to talk to this celebrity. They're going to look at me like, this girl don't know what she's talking about. So I still do have, those moments of not feeling good enough, of, is this what I should be doing? Because, I had a bad break, or I had two
Yeah.
bad breaks in a row. And I'm like, okay, I can't talk. I'm tongue tied. It's
So
not
what do
working.
you do when those feelings creep up?
Well, I'm still navigating through that. I am in therapy.
Good.
I,
I'm so happy. I mean, I'm not happy that you had to, but like, I'm all about right now, like, let go of the stigma.
yeah.
Therapy is for you. You can go to therapy. I'm
Yeah.
honestly about to start looking for one. Like, I'm doing a good job, I feel, by myself, of like releasing a lot of stuff. But I'm
Good.
like, if I can do this by myself, just imagine if I had like a regular check-in with
Yeah.
somebody who is certified to help me navigate stuff.
Yeah.
So how's
Yeah.
therapy going? Tell
It's,
me more.
yeah, it's honestly, it's going good. I started therapy in 2019. 2019 was like a rough year. I don't even want to get into everything
Okay,
that,
you don't have to.
but yeah, I had to tell you more about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, 2019 was a really rough year. And it kind of trickled because, it started with is that, yeah, I would say, yeah, it started, with my grandmother passing away, and she was my last grandparent. So that hurt, obviously, because that's my grandmother, and that was an emotional toll in itself. But then it also, was another emotional toll because it brought up other feelings of my other grandparents, because I'm like, she was my last one. So then it kind of hit me like, dang, I don't have none of my grandparents left. And, some other things happened throughout the year. And then, towards the end of the year, I got into a car accident. And so it was like I couldn't catch my breath in 2019. I don't know, everybody's like 2020 was, but I'm like, shoot, mine started a year earlier.
Like, yeah, you like, I beat y'all here.
Mine started a whole year earlier. So there was a lot. And I feel like, you know, especially after that car accident too, I was like, I need to talk to somebody because I just felt like it was just so much. And so I ended up, you know, I found a therapist. I really also too, I wanted a Black woman just because, and initially at the time, I really didn't know, you know, obviously we feel like, you know, we probably can identify more. But, you know, in talking to her, she was like, you know, you're not the only one there. A lot of people, just because like, for the reason I said, you just feel like certain parts of you, you don't want to have to explain
it. Yeah, you don't want to have to explain. You like, so I can say this to you and you understand, because there's 9.9 times out of 10, you've had some very similar experiences.
Completely. And, you know, she was great, but, you know, at the end of the year, going into 2020, my insurance ended up changing. And so she wasn't covered anymore. So I'm like, I do get paid, but not that much where I can afford to be going on a network. So I'm finding another woman who's the woman I have now, girl, we have a love-hate relationship because she just be telling me about myself when I don't hear it.
You're like, that ain't what I'm paying you for, but I am.
But no, honestly, she's amazing and she's helping me. It's so crazy because some of the things are so simple, but it's like when you hear it, it's like, duh.
Yeah.
And, you know, just having somebody to talk to without, you know, feeling any kind of judgment. And that was the thing too. I wanted to make sure it was somebody I was comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes people have to hop through different therapists and, you know, I wouldn't mind if I had to do that to find the right one, but thankfully I didn't have to do that. And, you know, she's been really helpful just explaining why I may feel certain ways, trying to find different things to do when I'm feeling anxiety, which I'm still trying to figure out certain things that work and certain things that don't work. Because like I told her, sometimes it's just like, it just out of nowhere, like nothing could be happening and my heart is pounding. So what is it? So we're working out this whole subconscious thing and we're going through all of that. But, you know, for me, which I'm learning, I guess I'm one of those people who feel like, okay, there's a problem, I have a solution, okay, it should be fixed. And so to her, I'm like, well, why, you know, what this one thing was working and now it's not working anymore. I'm getting worse. I'm just like off the deep end with it. But
this is over.
It's like, you know, come off the ledge. So, you know, and I say all that just to say, you know, although things couldn't appear a certain way and people could say, oh, that's so great, she gets to do this, gets to do that. I still have a lot of things that I struggle with too. I'm not posting it obviously on Instagram when I'm having a breakdown about something that I don't want anybody to see. But, you know, those issues are very real. And, you know, I also feel that I'm glad I had the opportunity to go to Chicago to get a radio award was that 2019? It might have been 2019 or 2018. Thank you. You know, it was during something called Morning Show Boot Camp. And so I got to sit in on some of the sessions before they presented the award and hearing so many people, you know, in similar positions, like in radio, talking about like, no, we have to see a therapist too. Like to hear all of them say we've had similar experiences and hearing some of their stories that they would tell, that really made me feel like that was like kind of a moment where I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one who feels like this. And it's like, you know, you're not the only one, but sometimes, you know,
sometimes you just want to, you need to hear it. So I didn't know that you were dealing with anxiety. Mm-hmm. I mean, even though you and I talk and text all the time, this is probably something like just hadn't come up. But I think if people would see you, especially if they don't know you, and see like you're always upbeat, always happy, you know what I mean? Like, and people always say comparison is a thief of joy, and it is. But it's human nature, and it's very hard not to have that comparison. So when you're having like that downtime, or if you're watching somebody who is inspirational to you, who's doing something you want to do, and you're like, well, they're always happy, and everything is going well, and everything over here is fine. And, you know, you're like, I suck, I quit, it's not for me. So I'm just happy that they can hear like you still have those days, and even though you are interviewed so many people that you still have those. Now, I'm not happy you have those issues, but I want people to see like,
Oh yeah, it's the
you're
human.
still dealing with it and that you're human, so that hopefully it will inspire somebody like, look, don't let those thoughts hold you back. You are not
Exactly.
the only one.
Mm-hmm.
You're having those thoughts, but you're still interviewing people. Girl,
Exactly.
you're one step away from knowing Beyonce.
I am. Oh, I'm so close. I'm
You
so
are
close.
so close.
I done interviewed the blue man from Black is King and Chloe and Halle. I'm
Girl, when I
right
saw
there.
Chloe and Halle, I was like,
And they were,
she's
I mean,
interviewing
they were
Chloe and
so,
Halle.
I loved interviewing them. And like, I feel like that's probably one of the ones where I felt like the most at ease. Like my
Yeah.
anxiety, I
And they
still feel
loved you. They were talking about how great your personality was. Yeah, I was like, I love them because not only do I like their music and I'm obsessed with Beyonce. Say something bad about Beyonce, we'll fight. So not only that, but I watched them on Grownish, and
oh
again,
yeah, me
old.
too.
I watch Grownish.
Yeah, I love Grownish.
Yes, and so I saw. I'm like, oh, and so
Yes.
you're talking to these people, and even though you've done a bunch of them, like those thoughts still creep in, and so I just want people to know,
Mhm.
like, the thought creeping in doesn't mean to stop. Like,
Exactly.
learn how to acknowledge, and that's where I am. I'm like, acknowledge the trigger.
Yeah.
So the thoughts are still there, but now girl, I swear to you, I've been talking out loud to myself. I'm like,
Good. Sometimes you
you
gotta
are
do that.
triggered right now. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you want to post this? Because I get nervous, like, to post. I'll spend all this time making my little
Yes.
videos, and then I'm like, I will post tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Then tomorrow comes, I will post tomorrow. And I keep putting it off, and then I'll post it, and I have to like walk away from my phone. So I think sometimes people have said to me like, oh, like, you're a natural in front of the camera and you so da da da. And I'm like, I'm glad it comes across like that. And I think like while I'm making it, I'm like that. But then the minute I finish editing it and everything, I'm like,
And you have to post it. It's a
uh,
whole set of nerves
it's a
that
whole
comes
other
in.
thing. I'm
And
like,
it's
oh,
and
oh.
it's so easy for people to be like, oh, you should, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about what people think. Don't worry about how many likes. Don't worry about all that. Yeah, that's easy to say. And of
It
course, we
is.
would like to not worry about that. But, after a while, been so ingrained in social media for so long now,
Yeah,
those thoughts creep in. It's just the human in us.
it is
Those thoughts are
human.
going to creep in.
It's human, and I've had to fight myself not to take something down, not because like it wasn't getting likes and stuff, but I've just been like, too
Oh, wow.
vulnerable, it wasn't good, just take it off, hit delete, hit it now, take it down, and so even though people have given me compliments, on stuff I put up, I'm like, y'all have no idea all the things that go through my mind before I post, and most definitely after I post. I'll have to hit post and be like, walk away.
So funny that you said, because I'm with them. Like, you do seem so natural. Like, it's just like another thing. And I'm glad that you don't delete that stuff, because I feel like a lot of the time when you post, like, not only is it good content, but it's like healing in a way, because
Yeah.
you are saying a lot of the things that a lot of people feel, but you're also entertaining, you're funny, and you just come across so relatable. So I'm glad that you don't take that down, because a lot of the things you post are inspirational too. So, that one word could, just trigger somebody else to go after their dreams or do something, or say, well, you know what? She said that. I think I
Yes.
can do it.
The
You
girl
know?
I interviewed, the girl I talked to yesterday said that she was in the middle of making a decision, and she saw a story or one of my videos where talking about like doing it, go for it, say yes. Or she was like, yes, I'm saying yes. And so I've had people, say stuff that they've done because they saw the video. And so that's the stuff that I'm like keeping in mind when I feel that like
Mm-hmm.
desire to shrink. That's what I call it. I'm kind of like, I want to fade into
I don't want to
the
do it.
background. I'm going to the background. And I'm like, no, like, you stay out here and you
Yeah.
this purpose. And so I think people hearing that from you, because you're so vibrant and you have such an amazing situation going for you right now,
Yeah.
that you still are doing those things, but you're still showing up. I think that's the most important thing. You're
Yeah.
with it, you're finding a way to handle it and talking to a therapist and using your strategies, and you're still showing up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And honestly, it's nothing that I don't even know if I've told that many people that I'm going to therapy, but it's nothing that I'm ashamed of or anything, especially because I'm learning so much from it.
Yeah.
That I know really I have no choice but to show up. Like
Yeah.
there are gonna be days where I don't feel good. There are gonna be days where I feel like, okay, that show was terrible. I don't know what I just said. Everybody heard it. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be those days, but of course, nobody's perfect all the time. I still am learning and growing in this business, in this industry, in life, period. So I just have to be okay with those emotions and those feelings, even though in the moments, I'm like, I'm not okay with this.
Yeah. You're like, but I'm gonna keep showing up though, God.
I'm
Keep
gonna
showing
keep
up.
showing up and just, praying that people, can understand that I am human. I'm gonna make mistakes sometimes. And everybody's not gonna like what I do or like listening to the show. And that has to be okay with me too.
You're not for everybody. That's the
Yeah,
biggest lesson.
nobody
You're
is
not
for
for
everybody.
everybody. And you have
Nobody
to
is
be,
for
but you
everybody.
have people who you are for, and those people love you.
Yes, yeah, and they show up heavy, and I'm super thankful for them. And that's one thing I really miss is just being out, having events, because we have some loyal listeners. Like they
I used to
come,
love seeing your videos and your stories when you be in the
oh
store and
my
they be like,
goodness,
yeah, like this
they,
Vicky Roe.
I have the best, the funniest listeners ever, and I obviously I would be without a job. These lights would be off without them
Without
because.
them, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I really appreciate them and I do miss being out and having that interaction. And that's a whole nother thing, that I guess didn't realize I needed as much too with this pandemic. Just, being so much
Social.
alone time. Yeah. And not being able to get out and interact with people and shake hands and, oh girl, let's take
Yeah.
a selfie.
I
You know,
can't. I'm excited to get back to that too.
yes, I really, really miss that.
I think
But
we'll appreciate that interaction way. I think it's something you take for granted. So I think it's something
yes,
that we'll definitely appreciate when we can get back to like really
ooh,
socializing with each other again.
seriously. Oh,
I can't say it enough times. I've said it a million already. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you for doing
Thank
this.
you. Listen. I'm gonna need everybody to go follow Vicky Roe and then come follow me too.
That.
Because I need y'all to be like, I knew them when. Well, you're already celeb status.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get there. I'm
I
coming.
love
I'm
it.
coming to join you. But no, seriously, I'm so proud of you. You inspire me, but I know you're just inspiring so many other people. So anytime that you're like feeling doubtful, you can call me and I'm gonna hype you up.
Yeah, and
Girl,
will.
if you don't have to keep going for nobody else, you keep going for me because I see you going for it. I'm like, Victoria going for it, I go for it. So
No,
you
I
have to go.
appreciate that. And you've always said that. Like it's always been that genuine support. So thank you so much. And doing this, stepping out and doing this is amazing for you. Like this is a big deal because I know you probably wouldn't have done this. So shout out to that class that you're in.
Yes, I'm like, okay, like we're gonna try this. At this point, we talked before. I'm just like, I'm not throwing stuff to the wall to see what sticks, but I'm like, the only way I'm gonna know and like really find like my niche and like what God is, showing me is like to step out there.
You
So
gotta
I'm
try it.
just
Yeah.
stepping out there and I'm just going for it.
Yeah, you gotta try it because I mean, you never know what can happen. I know fear can be crippling and it can stop you from doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Anxiety can stop you from doing a lot of things. Depression, especially all these emotions now that we're having
Yes.
in a pandemic and losing people in a pandemic. It can be a lot. But then on the other side of it, if the time is gonna pass anyway, why not pursue something that you're actually passionate about?
That you're passionate about. So you keep pursuing because that's what inspires me to keep going too.
We inspire each
We
other.
inspire each other. Oh no, I need y'all to listen to me. Listen to me carefully. Go
Okay.
follow Vicky Roe Radio. It's Vicky. I remember
Please,
you had a post up there one time. You were like, it ain't no I-E,
girl, because
it ain't no
I get so
E-Y.
many DMs, and I'm like, you literally have to tap my name to DM me. Like
I
you
know
have
you see it.
my name is at the top. Why is my name still spelled wrong?
Yes. So it's VICKYROE Radio. That's her Instagram. And then for her website, it's the same thing, VickyRoeRadio.com.
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, I'm telling y'all, go follow her now. You'll be like, I remember when I heard her on Jamaica's podcast when Jamaica was just getting started.
Appreciate that.
And
She was just
now,
getting started.
look at her. Look at her.
Done found her passion.
Listen, they found her passion. So I just want y'all to be able to say, you knew her when. You knew her when.
Yeah, no, seriously. Thank you for even thinking of me to do this. I love the fact that you're going to be interacting and telling people stories. You're the perfect person for that. So thank you for even thinking of me to do this. I'm
Well,
just like,
thank
yes, of
you.
course.
And thank you for agreeing. This has been so much fun. Again, I forgot I was recording the podcast. So, yeah, so I know people like, this is probably, it may be one of the longest ones, but it was so natural. I feel like we just,
No, I'm sorry if I
no,
know.
I don't, girl, this is a podcast. We can talk for another half hour if we want to. I ain't got nobody tell me what to do. It's been so good. I think it's just going to be so good for people to listen to. So thank you for being so open and sharing everything.
Of course, anytime. And I know this is going to go farther than you can imagine. So, good luck with all of this.
I
I'm so
received that.
proud of you. I love you. Receive all the good things because you are very deserving.
Oh, see, and that's why I love you. That's the hype woman of the year. That's your next award. Take this, girl. Yes, I love you. I love you. I love you. Well, listen, y'all. Again, go follow her on social media. You won't regret it. She will keep you laughing, if nothing else. If nothing else, you will be rolling during the day. And then in the show notes, I'll have the information in case you couldn't catch it or you're driving. So if you're driving and listening, then you can just go to the show notes and I'll have all of her information there.
Yeah, show notes.
Hey, look, I'm getting professional in 2021. Holla at your girl. Holla at your girl. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you all on the next episode. Bye.